Thank you.
Thanks for that executive decision, Kevin.
Far away.
Mike, how much different is this for the whole, not just for you, but the whole team going into this season when you know who your quarterback's going to be and you know it's the kind of offense you want? Just the whole, how much better off is the offense right now than, say, a year ago?
The most important thing for us when we're trying to install, or I should say, when we're trying to prioritize our installation, we're going to gear it towards our personnel strengths, whomever plays. So if it's JW, you gear it towards his strength. If it's Rudolph, you program it towards his strength. So that's what you have to do, and that's what we try to do. And we want to make sure that we're always a well-balanced offense with regard to not only run and pass, but also your play-action game. You want to be very complementary. And, we often say if you have play A in, you want play A, play A1, play A2 to complement yourself. So you want your run game to look like your play-action game, a screen game that's off of that as well. So you want to complement yourself. You just don't want play A, B, and C, if that makes any sense to you guys. So that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we're hard to defend, that we're disguised as we do it, regardless of who's playing. That's the ultimate goal. Hard to defend. It's harder to defend, I would imagine.
You compare, Mike, what you have on the offensive line today versus where it was October, just the continuity, and you got personnel. It seems like you're really comfortable with the personnel, and Adkins seems to have been a really nice addition.
Absolutely. Coach has done a great job developing that unit. I think we're a healthier group right now, which is the most important thing, and we can never control injuries. So that's one thing that's really out of our control. It's just the way it is. But our guys are playing tough. They always will. They'll always be ready. They'll be well prepared with Coach Atkins and what he's done. His experience is just tremendous to have Coach in the room. From a schematic standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, you can definitely see the improvement that we've made up front. And you have to give our players the credit because they're the ones working at it. They're the ones working at their craft. They're the ones who take pride in themselves. I think we saw it towards the end of last year, the amount of pride they had in themselves. So over time, you're going to get better. You're going to improve as long as you work hard and you have great attitudes the way our guys right now have.
How has Mason responded to being the guy, the starter, having that responsibility this spring?
Real well. I think he wants the role. I think there's guys that want that last second shot. They embrace that. I think he's one of those guys. As JW is the same way. He's the same mold. He'll never back down. Very fortunate to have a really good group of young quarterbacks that are that leader type, that want to take the reins, that want to be the guy. It's great to have a few of those guys around that want that. They want to be called upon. And they have that inside, that it factor, You can't really define it, but they have it. And, it's great to be around those guys. They have confidence in themselves, and the team has confidence in them as well.
What about Kolar? Sometimes with true freshman quarterbacks that roll early, this setting is kind of a disaster for them. He made some plays, downfield with his arm, ran the ball well. Were you impressed with the way he played today?
Yes and no. John has a lot of room to grow. He made a lot of simple mistakes that you guys would never know about. But those are very easily correctable. That's the positive. He has a lot of natural ability. He's a good athlete. He made all of the correct run reads that we gave him today. He did a great job in space. So there's a lot of good to take from today, but there's a lot of improvement as well.
With Mason's success in kind of running this offense, does it make it easier now for you to utilize JW maybe more with his strengths for running the ball, where before you obviously had to try to get him to throw the ball just as much as running it?
Like I said, you want to be balanced. So if we call upon JW, we want to make sure that we're still a relatively balanced offense. And we're always going to play to JW's strengths like we have in the past. That's how we'll move forward in the future. I don't think really anything has changed in regard to how we see him fitting into our offense.
Can you talk a little bit about where your offensive
offensive line is at this point and how you feel about them now in the spring?
Sure, I think I answered it earlier, really. I mean, I think they're on schedule. The good thing is, as an offense as a whole, not just the offensive line, but as the offense as a whole, there's a lot of room for improvement still. We've done some good things in spring. I think us as coaches were overall very satisfied with where we're at. However, the good news is we can still continue to improve and to grow. I think the more the offensive line can play together and understand, the language through and through, and the more they can meet with Coach Adkins and watch film with him, the more they're going to learn, the more they're going to develop, and that's key. Time, investment. So you'll see improvement with that. The more film they watch, the more they can speak the same language, the more meetings they have over the summer months that they allow us to have now is going to really help us at your intelligence level. Not only is the guard hearing it, but the tackle's hearing it. So now you become more diverse within your own unit. So maybe if there's something to happen, I mean, there's always going to be bumps and bruises. And now, so maybe the guard understands what the tackle's doing. Maybe the experienced tackle can help out the guard and, kind of help a young guy along if a young guy needs to step in. So it's gelling. It's coming together. It's getting to know one another. And that's a critical element. Let's talk about, chemistry. And those guys, the more time they spend with it, the more solid they'll be, the more of a unit they'll play.
How's the depth of running back behind Freddie looking? You don't even have the JUCO transfer in yet, but you got the K-State transfer. Taylor seemed to have a pretty productive day today as well.
Raymond has very good balance. He's done really good things within the offense. He has the uncanny knack to make the first guy miss. He's got decent hands out of the backfield. He's still getting better at understanding pass protections, and that sort of thing. But he's physical. He'll pound you. He understands the toughness required, and he's been fun to watch.
Seem to have great competition at receiver, Mike. How has that raised the level of play out there?
Well, those guys are competitors, like you said. I mean, they compete. They understand that it's all about production. And, egos aside, it's time to go make a play, and it's business for those guys. And, that's how it goes. And those guys compete real hard. And, when you can combine talent and you can combine teamwork and unselfishness and effort, I think that those are things that make you great. And we're not saying that we're close to being there, but we're on our way to improving and understanding team and selflessness is key. And when you can give great effort and you combine that with talent, you're going to get good results.
What did you like and not like about Mason's spring?
A simple operation, mistakes. There's been times where it's been a bad decision with whatever particular play that we're in. It's just a very simple, obvious mistake that, boy, my wife could see that, Mason. I mean, geez, that's not hard. Something as simple as that. And then he'll go ahead and just make a great play. And he has a very good sense of when to get the ball out of his hand. He has a very quick release. When he decides to throw the ball to an open receiver, that time between his brain and the ball getting out of his hand is really unique. It's pretty quick. And so that's tremendous. He has great vision. He sees open people. So that's the good. And he's getting better. He's getting better at reading the defense. And there's a process. It goes 1, 2, 3 as you progress through your play. What's the first thing that comes into your brain? What's the first thing you should be thinking about? Okay, now what's next and what's next? And it all happens real fast. But there's a procedure. And we can't skip steps. We've got to go through the procedure, 1, 2, 3, and manage the offense and go through the proper reads. Sometimes you abort because there's a wide open guy. And why'd you throw that guy, coach? Because he was wide open. He can see the field, and that's fine. That's good. Those are the good things. So you don't want to overcoach. At the same time, there needs to be some fundamentals from a thought process standpoint that I think he can get better at.
How about today? How did he do?
Hard to judge without watching the film. I didn't remember too many mistakes from Mace today. The one pass on the goal line, I asked, I was watching the coverage down on the 5-yard line, and I asked, why did he get rid of the ball so quick? And I don't know if it was one of the guards busted or, one of those things. It's really hard for me to give a grade without watching the film, so I'm a little reluctant to say.
Okay, you guys can tell certain players